Hey guys, Mix here, and in today's video we are going to be doing something very special, something that's been years in the making, which is just crazy to say. So as you guys can tell from the title and thumbnail, today a legend is returning to YouTube. So many of you guys have been commenting, asking where this is and just what's been going on with it. And I'm going to tell you guys what's been happening with it, and that is nothing. Some of you are going to be angry. I'm angry at myself for what happened to this, but today that's all going to change, and we're going to be reviving something that has a strong presence on this YouTube channel, and that is my 750cc half-scale NASCAR, aka the NASCAR. So this thing has been sitting outside as it is right here uncovered for almost the past 4 years, which is crazy to say. Last time this thing ran was September 2020, and ever since then it has not ran at all. It has not moved from this very spot. As you guys know, this thing took me a long time to make. And under here we have the 750cc 4-cylinder motorcycle engine. Yep, there she is. That we took from a Honda CB750, and we completely rebuilt this engine. Whole new top ends, new pistons, everything like that, and we got it running. And this thing ran pretty good. Now, as far as driving, I've only driven this once, as you guys know, and it was absolutely terrifying. I built an absolute monster on that first drive. One wire from the wiring harness came loose and it ended it right there. We ended up fixing it, got it running once again, but I've never driven it really since on the street. I have taken it around the backyard and everything, but as you guys know, this thing is extremely low. This thing is meant for a track. It's meant for asphalt, not really the grass. Driving it, it was absolutely terrifyingly fast. I'm sure this thing would honestly do like 140 miles an hour like nothing. I don't even remember if I got it out of second or third gear. Unfortunately, just due to storage issues and just busy with work and everything like that, this thing sat. It sat outside. I was covered for a while. Cover blew off. No idea where it went. And as you guys can see, this thing was exposed to the elements, and it is all rusted on any areas that had exposed metal. Now, this cover, the body itself, has been on it this entire time, so the engine has been pretty much covered except for right here where the carburetors kind of peek through. Now, if we built this thing now, today, compared to, what, 5 years ago, the craftsmanship on it would be much better if I knew back then what I knew now. But, you know, we have to start somewhere, and this was honestly probably the biggest project I've ever done at the time. And I mean, for us to actually get this thing running and driving was an accomplishment in itself. So it's probably not a terrible thing that I kind of let it go to waste, because we can go back and kind of fix everything and maybe make it a little bit safer, because I did also learn how to weld on this, which not the best project to learn how to weld on, being that I have like a 300-pound engine a couple inches from behind my head. So, but what I want to do today is basically see if this thing runs, see what it will need to get running. From there, we can go ahead and see what this thing needs to basically revive it completely and get it basically roadworthy once again. So straight off the bat, I want to go ahead and see if there is a battery in this thing. And if there is, I doubt it's good. There is no battery back there in the battery holder. So I am probably gonna have to buy a battery for this. Unfortunately, they are kind of expensive, which is kind of surprising. Wow. Okay, fuel lines, definitely gonna need. They are rock solid. So I just found this battery in my shed, and I believe it is brand new. Oh yeah, this thing is brand new. Let's see what the date on it is. 2021, not bad, this might work. So we'll let this thing hang out here for a little while, and then we'll test the voltage on it and see if it's actually holding. All right, so what I want to go ahead and do is try and lift off this body. It's a little bit hard doing it by myself, but I should be able to. I have done it before, just so we can really see everything that's going on under here and see if the weather kind of destroyed anything else that's underneath this body. So let's go ahead and give this a shot. There we go. Back memories. All right, so here is a better look at the frame on this thing. Now, obviously, we got some growth going on here. Back here too, we just got like grass growing up through it. But the frame and everything looks good. It's really just these interior components that are really rusted out. Let's see, the engine actually looks pretty good. Let's see if the throttle even is stuck or not. No, it actually feels pretty good. Had a little bit of hesitation at first, but it's returning nicely. I definitely wouldn't be surprised if we did have to clean out the carbs a little bit, but chokes are both still moving. Actually, the chains are nice and loose. They're not rusted at all. But the engine itself looks really good. The engine mounts I made also look really good. Before we do anything with turning over the engine, let's check the oil on this. Hopefully it doesn't look milky. Oh wow, it actually looks really good. There's no white in it, there's no water it looks like, so that is another good sign. Hopefully it can actually handle the load of starting that engine. Oh boy, that is seized on there. Wow. Oh, there we go. Let's see how this tank's looking. We do have some really old fuel in there. Definitely a little bit corroded too, you can see on the cap. It's all calcified. What I'm gonna do to get this old fuel out of this tank is disconnect from the carb, hook up the battery, and turn on the fuel pump and let it all flush out the line, and I'll drain it from the hose itself. And we'll put in some fresh fuel in this thing so the carbs get nice, clean fuel going into it. So I have the battery hooked up, and I just went ahead and hit the fuel pump real quick just to see if we have any life at all, and it's on. I don't even know if you guys could be able to hear this, but it is on, but it is incredibly quiet. It sounds like it's pretty much dead. And I did go ahead and test the voltage, and I actually threw on a jump pack just to see if it made any difference, and the jump pack is on, and it makes no difference at all. 12.2 volts with the fuel pump on currently, so it should have enough voltage for the fuel pump to be working properly. So seems like I'm gonna have to order a fuel pump for this thing, and while I'm at it, I am just gonna go ahead and order a spool of a fuel line. This is the fuel line I'm gonna order, like correct actual fuel line made for fuel, and not whatever this stuff is that I put on. Oh yeah, that is clogged up. But the tip of the fuel pump is just covered in black soot and old fuel. That thing is definitely clogged up. Along with a fueling issue, we also have a no crank issue as well. So I've been going around like this for like an hour trying to figure out what's going on. We're getting 12 volts to the starter solenoid. I'm trying to jump it with the screwdriver, that old trick, and nothing's happening. I did try and hit the start button once, and the start button completely fell apart. The rest of it is down here. So we're gonna have to make a new start button. So as you can see, we have 12 volts going to the starter solenoid. Now, maybe the battery's a little bit flat, and maybe that's why, but I would still think that when I try and jump it, we would get some sort of starter life, but there's absolutely nothing. The battery's at 12.3. Now, there is a lot of voltage drop, it seems, from the starter solenoid to the battery. I could potentially play a part. This is a live power wire. These are the positive and negative cables from the starter solenoid, and touching them together, zero spark, zero clicking, absolutely no noise coming from the starter or anything. So this is weird. Alright guys, so we were back here a few days later, and I've acquired a few parts, a new fuel pump, fuel line, and I got a brand new battery over here charging. But while that battery's charging, I want to go ahead and start taking off all of this old rock solid fuel line, get rid of this old fuel and swap it out with all of the new stuff, and then try and crank this thing over and see if it'll fire up. So I got the new fuel lines on. But as you can see, I had to do some rigging, some temporary stuff here and there because this fuel tank is completely rusted out. So I'm not going to be using that. But just for testing purposes, to see if this engine will actually fire up, I'm just going to have the fuel line basically just be on this gas tank. And I kind of have everything set up how it should work. But I'm going to flip on the fuel pump. And we are running. This might have to go down a little bit. There we go. Building pressure. I see fuel flowing in the T. No leaks. So that could either mean the floats are stuck closed and we're not getting any fuel at all, or it actually might just be good, which is kind of rare. But let's try and give this a shot. Gonna give it a couple hits on the gas. Throttle return's nice. And I'm just gonna go ahead and jump the starter solenoid from right here, and hopefully we get some life. Yep, there we go. All right, sweet. Carbs a little bit. 12 volts. Oh my God, hold on, it just fired. I think we need more gas. Holy cow, there we go. Alright guys, so we're actually back here a little while later, and I've been having issues with this start button. So I just went ahead and got a Honda CB750 starter button, because that's what this whole wiring harness is from. And I'm just gonna go ahead and wire this in quick and see if we can just get a start button going, because that'll make everything so much easier. Alrighty guys, so I've been running into an issue with trying to keep a good constant power going to this thing, and I've narrowed it down to a bad power cable from the battery to the starter solenoid. There was a break in it, so what I went ahead and did is just ran a brand new wire to the starter solenoid and the battery. The battery is fully charged up. As you can see, we have 13 volts. This thing is like pumped up, ready to go. I'm still having an issue for whatever reason with the starter button not working. So I don't know if there's a break in the wiring harness somewhere else, but I should be able to just bridge the starter solenoid consistently now, because all I want to hear is this thing spring to life and see if this thing actually still runs. So what I want to go ahead and do is go ahead and prime up these carbs once again, just hook up my little temporary fuel tank and everything like that, see if we can bridge the starter solenoid and see if this thing will finally fire up. We should be able to crank this thing consistently now. Might need some gas. I'm gonna wedge the gas pedal just a little bit. It's not like flooring it, but just feathering the gas a little bit. Oh, I just ran. So this thing sounds like it really wants to fire up, but I want to go ahead and pull some of these spark plugs and see how they're looking. See if they look really fouled out, flooded. Maybe crank it over a few times with the spark plugs off. See if anything comes out of the cylinders. Alright, let's see. First one. Oof, that doesn't look the best. Definitely looks pretty fouled out, not gonna lie. Let's see the next one. Also looks fouled out. Over here. This one doesn't look as bad. It is wet. Alright, this one doesn't look as bad either. So it seems that this bank, or this carb, is running way richer than this side. This side looks pretty good. That side's definitely fouled out for sure. So what I might try and do is just take some sandpaper to it, just try and clean them up a little bit, maybe swap the sides and see if there's any difference. We have very good sparks. I'm going to clean up these spark plugs, put them back in, and see if this thing will bark off. This thing's gonna run now. So I was looking back at old videos, because this, as you guys saw, this thing kept popping and popping and popping and popping, and I'm like, it sounds like it's like the firing order's all messed up, but I don't remember ever switching around the plug wires. Well, I looked back at old videos and both sides were all screwed up. That right there is telling me that this thing is gonna run. So I'm gonna go ahead, prime up this fuel once again, and see if we can actually get this thing to fire up and run for a little bit. But obviously, we're gonna have to do some permanent fixes. But this temporary stuff is definitely gonna see if this thing actually will stay running for us. So let's see what happens. Holy cow! There's so much water just came out of this exhaust. I normally don't recommend spraying starter fluid in, but I had enough of hearing it run like that. I want to hear this thing rev up and run for a little bit. And it kind of started, like it might have started pulling fuel just a little bit towards the end, but that is good to hear. Heck yeah. So guys, I probably look like a mess right now. It's because I am, because I've been fighting this thing for literally weeks, trying to get this thing to fire up. I made as much stuff as I would have done to this thing. It wouldn't have ran if those spark plug wires weren't the correct way. But a lot of the other stuff had to get done. But a lot of the stuff we did in today's video was just temporary stuff, just to see if this thing will even fire up. So what this thing told me was, it's not getting fuel. These carburetors are probably really clogged up, so I might just go ahead and just rebuild them, order some stuff for that. And then I also need to order a new gas tank, because that thing is completely shot, so we can actually get a constant fuel setup going to the carbs. And I think a new gas tank, clean carbs, and this thing should be able to run. I also need to figure out what's going on with the starter button, because for whatever reason I need to just jump the solenoid every single time the button is not working, which is odd. But this thing actually seems to be firing up relatively quickly. I might actually start to pull some fuel there. I'm super happy to hear this thing run. I forgot how loud it was. That is ear-piercingly loud. You know, like I said in the beginning of this video, it does upset me that I kind of let this thing just sit out here and kind of just rot away. But if you guys want to see more of this, let me know down in the comments. I'm sure you guys do. And we could actually get this thing to fire up, run, idle, rev, everything normally, and then hopefully see if we could actually put it in drive and see if this thing will move under its own power. But anyway guys, with that being said, I'm going to be ending the video here. I'm super happy that we at least got this thing to fire up and run a little bit, and today that was the main objective of this video, so I'm definitely stoked with that. But anyway guys, follow my social media, so you'll be in the outro of this video, Instagram and Snapchat I see most. But thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like, comment, and share friends with the channel.